stayed by the doorway, but your eyes were already gone. You smiled like you were listening, while your heart had moved on. I kept reading between your pauses, trying to fix what I felt. You were halfway out the moment I still called us sweet to myself. I confused your silence for patience and distance for space to heal. I didn't know you had already left. I was loving what wasn't real. I stayed after you checked out, kept the lights on, kept the doubt, told myself you'd turn around while you planned to be fine. I stayed after you checked out, held the room, held the sound. You left without saying goodbye. I stayed to watch us die. Your words felt rented, never owned, like promises with an end date. I waited for you to feel again while you learn how to escape. I memorized your leaving signs, the way your touch grew thin. You didn't break my heart all at once. You slowly checked out within. I stopped asking you to choose me, stopped begging love to try. I saw the truth in your absence before you said goodbye. I stayed after you checked out, played the part, wore the doubt, loved you louder, loved you proud, while you faded into the crowd. I stayed after you checked out, believed in us when you were out. You left without closing the door. I stayed for something no more. Now I know love doesn't vanish, it leaves clues before it goes. If I have to convince you to stay, then I already know I won't build a future on someone halfway gone. I deserve a love that stays present when things go wrong. I stayed after you checked out, but I'm leaving now somehow. I will carry what you dropped. I won't wait for love to stop. You checked out and wept for the end. I stayed, but I won't again. This time I choose myself somehow. I stayed once, now I might. I stayed when I shouldn't have. Now I'm walking back to me. of empty rooms by tracing where you used to stand. Your coffee cup, your quiet shoes, still waiting like they understand. The light comes in but feels too wide, like something's missing from the air. I smile now but only half, the rest of me still isn't there. You never slammed the door goodbye, you just faded step by step, and somehow that hurt deeper than every word you never said. I loved you in the spaces you left, in the pauses between my breath, in the nights where your name stayed loud, but your voice was nowhere around. I held on where you slipped away, loved the silence, you couldn't stay. I loved you in the spaces you left when you were already elsewhere. Your absence learned my daily life, it knows exactly when I fall. I talk to you in crowded rooms, still feel the quiet most of all. They say time heals, but no one tells how slow it moves when love stays true. I don't miss who you are today, I miss who I was with you. You moved on like it was easy, like we never had a past, but I'm still living in the moment, right before we didn't last. I loved you in the spaces you left, in the cracks I could have met, in the days that kept moving on, while my heart just tried to pretend. I stayed with you, let go, believed in us long after no. I loved you in the spaces you left when I was still trying to hold. Maybe love was never meant to survive on memory, but I built a home inside the loss you never came back to see. I don't hate you, I just ache for the version you let fade. You taught me how to feel alone while still loving you this way. I loved you in the spaces you left when goodbye didn't sound like the end. Every heartbeat learned your shape, every tear spelled out your name. like my own. Even with the echoes gone, I loved you in the spaces you left, but I don't live there anymore. Your suitcase stayed by the doorway, but your eyes were already gone. You smiled like you were listening, while your heart had moved on. I kept reading between your pauses, trying to fix what I felt. You were halfway out the moment I still called us we to myself. I confused your silence for patience and distance for space to heal. I didn't know you had already left. I was loving what wasn't real. I stayed after you, checked out, kept the lights on, kept the doubt, told myself you turn around while you were nowhere won't be found. I stayed after you, checked out, held the room, held the sound you left without saying goodbye. I stayed to watch us die. Your words felt rented, never owned, like promises with an end date. I waited for you to feel again, while you learned how to escape. I memorized your leaving signs, the way your touch grew thin. wait for something no more. Now I know love doesn't vanish. It leaves clues before it goes. If I have to convince you to stay, then I already know. I won't build a future on someone halfway gone. I deserve a love that stays present when things go wrong. I stayed after you checked out, but I'm leaving now somehow. I won't care on you drop. I won't wait for love to stop. You checked out long before the end. I stayed, but I've blown again. This time I choose myself somehow. I stayed once, now I'm out. I stayed when I shouldn't have. Now I'm walking back to me. We were still learning how to laugh again, still leaving coffee warm on the table. You said forever like it had time, like love was something stable. I was counting days we hadn't lived, dreams we hadn't dared to try. Then you said my name like an ending, before I learned how to say goodbye. I thought we were just beginning, but you were already done. I was holding on to the moment you were landing from. Your goodbye came early, before my heart could understand. I was still building tomorrow. You were letting go of my hand. Your goodbye came early, before love learned how to stay. I was ready to keep choosing us. You walked away yesterday. Your side of the bed stayed untouched, like it knew you wouldn't return. I replayed every quiet You spoke like you'd thought it through. Let the leaving was an act of grace, but I was still inside the story. You erased the final page. I didn't know love could end before it ever felt complete. I was still believing in us while you were retreating. Your goodbye came early before I'd learned how to be strong. I was still calling you my home. You had already moved on. Your goodbye came early before my heart could prepare. You left me holding a future you decided not to share. Maybe timing never looks one. Maybe hearts don't always align. But you don't leave someone slowly when they're still calling you mine. I won't beg love to wait that already chose to flee. If goodbye came early for you, it came on time for me. Your goodbye came early, but my healing came right on time. I won't mourn what you abandoned. I'll protect what's still mine. Your goodbye came early, but I finally see the truth. You left before love was tested. I stayed long enough to choose. You left before I was ready. Now I'm ready without you. You walked away without a word, left the silence louder than the hurt. I replay the moments we almost knew, all the little things I never said to you. The door closed softly behind your face, and suddenly the world felt out of place. I reach for reasons, but they dissolve into shadows only I resolve. And every night I ask goodbye you never explained echoes louder than the rain. Every memory I tried to save crashes into the empty space. You vanished without a sign, left me with questions lost in time. The goodbye you never explained still lingers in my veins. I hear you laugh in strangers' rooms, see your eyes in the pale of the moon. Every corner whispers your name, but nothing feels like it did the same. I held on to echoes that weren't mine, chasing pieces across the line. Love turned into a silent plea, and yet I find you haunting me. I'm learning how to let it go, even if I'll never know. The goodbye you never explained echoes louder than the rain. Every memory I tried to save crashes into the empty space. You vanished without a sign, left me with questions lost in time. The goodbye you never explained still lingers in my veins. Maybe some doors aren't meant to reopen, maybe some hearts aren't meant to stay, but I keep walking through the ashes of the words you didn't say. The goodbye you never explained will never break the love that remains. I will carry the lessons, the ache, and learn to breathe despite the shake. Though you vanished without a sign, I'll find my peace in my own time. The goodbye you never explained will never touch what I became. I whisper to the empty air, thank you for the love we shared, even if you never explained. The room still smells of yesterday. Your laughter lingers, won't fade away. I trace the moments you let slip through. Every corner whispers something of you. I stood in shadows where your light once shone, hoping somehow I could hold it alone. But love dissolved before it could stay, and I'm still standing where it went away. And every night I feel the cold of words you never said, stories untold. I stayed where your love ended, holding pieces I never mended. Every heart streets still smell of you. I keep your sweater folded on the chair, pretending you might come back there. The clock ticks slow, the nights feel long, but I find strength inside the wrong. The love we had became a ghost, but it's mine to keep, even if it hurts most. And in the quiet I begin to see the love I lost is part of me. I stayed where your love ended, holding pieces I never mended. Every heartbeat I tried to save now drifts alone across the waves. I stayed where your love ended, learning to heal what was upended. Though you walked out and left me behind, I keep the echoes you left in my mind. Maybe some hearts are not meant to stay. Maybe love is a lesson in decay. But I keep the fire, even in the night, turning your absence into my light. I stayed where your love ended, but now I'm stronger, unpretended. Every memory that cut so deep, I cradle them softly as I sleep. I stayed where your love ended, but I'm rising from the ache you intended. Though you left without a sign, I carry the love that once was mine. I breathe in the echoes and finally find my own tomorrow. We used to talk until the light turned mornings into something bright. Now even silence feels too loud, like something broke but never fell down. No slammed doors, no last goodbye, just fewer reasons asking why. Your shadow left before you did, and I pretended not to notice it. Love didn't end, it just grew thin, like words we stopped believing in. We faded without a sound, no echoes when we went down. No fire, no final round, just hearts learning how to back down. We didn't crash, we didn't fight, we slowly lost the need to try. We faded without a sound. Still hurts when I think about I still remember how we left before forever turned to past. We stayed but weren't really there, share the same room, different air. I held on longer than I should. You left in ways I missed. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't wrong, just love that didn't last that long. We stopped asking if we're okay, like answers would have made us stay. We faded without a sound, no echoes when we went down, no fire, no final round, just hearts learning how to back down. We didn't crash, we didn't fight, we slowly lost the need to try. We faded without a sound, still hurts when I think about. Some endings don't break you in two, they quietly forget you. No scars to prove the pain was real, but silence cuts the deepest still. We faded without a sound, like ghosts we didn't chase around. No blame, no truth we found, just love we slowly let slip out. I don't hate you, I don't cry, I just miss the reason why. We faded without a sound, and that's the part I can't work out. Nothing shattered, nothing drowned, we just faded without a sound. I didn't know the shape of quiet until your voice was gone. I used to fill my days with you, nowadays just carry on. Your coffee cup still by the sink, like you're running late, but I stopped waiting at the door when hope learned how to break. You never meant to leave me cold, but love taught lessons it never told. I learned loneliness from you, from the way you slowly slipped away from all the things we didn't do, and every word you didn't say. I wasn't born this good at being alone, I had to learn it from you. Yeah, I learned loneliness from you. We shared a bed, but not our fears. I felt you miles away. You smiled like nothing was wrong. I memorized that face. I tried to hold what wasn't there, like air between my hands. You left me with your absence, that's when I started to understand. Love doesn't always tears. Sometimes it leaves you here. I learned loneliness from you, from empty rooms and quiet nights, from loving someone halfway who never stayed to fight. I wasn't strong before you're gone, but I became someone new. Yeah, I learned loneliness from you. Now I sit with silence like it knows my name. I don't blame you for the pain, but I changed. I learned loneliness from you, but I also learned to stand. I learned how to lose someone and still hold my own hand. You were my hardest lesson and my deepest truth. I didn't choose this kind of love. I learned loneliness from you. I don't miss who you became. I miss who I was with you. The room feels wider than it should, like it's missing something good. Every chair knows how you sat, every corner whispers back. I didn't break when you walked out. I stayed too calm, I stayed too proud. But now the quiet hits too deep, like pain learning how to breathe. I thought the hurt would fade with time, but it learned my daily life. Everything hurts where you used to be. Every space remembers you and me. Even joy feels incomplete, like it's standing on weak knees. I don't cry, I don't fall apart. I just take in every part. Everything hurts where you used to be, and I don't know who I'm meant to be. Your name doesn't break my chest, it just lingers and never rests. Like a bruise I learned to hide, under moments I survive. I pass the places we once knew, they feel empty dressed as new. I smile like I've healed enough, but healing's not the same as love. I don't miss you like before, I miss the life I felt with you. Everything hurts where you used to be, even laughter sounds too thin. Every dream lost gravity when you weren't there to lean in. I don't scream, I don't fall apart, I just carry the aftershock. Everything hurts where you used to be, like my heart forgot pain is love with nowhere to go. Maybe letting go is learning it slow. I don't want you back inside my days. I just want the hurting to change its shape. Everything hurts where you used to be, but it's softer than it was before. I can breathe through the memory. I don't collapse on the floor. I survived what I couldn't see. I outgrew the version of me. Everything hurts where you used to be, but I'm still here, and that's healing. Some wounds don't close, they just stop bleeding. I folded my days around your name, like it was something safe to say. You promised nothing, still I hoped. Built a future out of things you never wrote. I learned your moods are quiet signs. Ignore the warning every time. I thought love meant I'd understand, even when you slipped right through my hands. I kept choosing you in every doubt while you were already halfway out. I loved you longer than you stayed, held on through nights you'd already escaped. You said forever without a sound, then disappeared while I stayed around. You let go before the pain showed through. I loved the parts you never grew into. I loved you longer than you stayed, and I'm still here learning how to fade. Your absence learned my daily life. Sat at the table, slept at night. I stopped expecting your reply. Still flinched when my phone lit up with light. I rewrote endings in my head, where you turned back, where words were said. But reality was cold and clear. You were gone long before. Love again, just not that way. Not longer than someone decides to stay. Trace the lines where your hand once lay. Every corner whispers of yesterday. The laughter froze before it bloomed. Now empty rooms are all I've assumed. I replay the nights that never came, the words we never said, the unspoken flame. Even the silence held a weight of all the love we couldn't translate. I keep reaching for shadows you left. Every almost tears me to that. What we almost were still hurts. The echoes of us feel the worst. Moments that slip through our hands, promises we didn't understand. I still feel you in every scar, in the quiet breaking of my heart. What we almost were still hurts. It leaves me standing in reverse. I walk past places we could have known. Each step reminds me I'm alone. Your smile lingers in fading light. I chase it through the lonely night. Every plan that never came true, every dream I shared with you. Even the stars seem to pretend that some things just don't ever end. I hold the pieces of our might have been, learning how to let go within. What we almost were still hurts. The echoes of us feel the worst. Moments that slip through our hands, promises we didn't understand. I still feel you in every scar, in the quiet breaking of my heart. What we almost were still hurts. It leaves me standing in reverse. Maybe time will dull the ache, but some memories never break. I forgive the love we left unsaid, and cradle every tear I've shed. What we almost were still hurts, but I'm learning life can still aside. Strength in places you couldn't stay. Love in ways that won't decay. Even if the past calls my name, I can rise from the hurt and pain. What we almost were still hurts. But I'll live beyond the verse. Let the shadows rest tonight. Carry the almost out of sight. packed your name into every goodbye, like I could fold it small enough to hide. You said you needed space to breathe, but I was still holding what we used to be. The days kept moving, I stayed behind, counting moments you left undefined. You walked away like it was a lie. I stayed to feel every goodbye twice. I let go slower than you did. I stayed when love still lived. You dropped us like a finish line. I reread every side. You learned how to forget me fast. I learned how to make the feeling last. I let go slower than you did, and it broke me bit by bit. Your laughter doesn't haunt the room. It's worse, it's how it vanished too soon. I talk to silence like it knows the shape of you, the way you'd go. I kept the promises you outgrew, like they still belong to me and you. You called it over clean and clear. I called it love, I stayed right here. I let go slower than you did. I stayed where love still lived. You closed the door without a sound. I searched for reasons all around. You moved on like it didn't last. I lived inside the aftermath. I let go slower than you did, and it broke me bit by bit. Maybe I loved deeper, not wrong. Maybe holding on took me too long. But hearts don't heal on even ground. Some fall quiet, some break loud. I let go slower than you did, but I'm still standing this. I carried us when you were gone. I felt the night stretch far too long. You forgot the weight we shared. I learned how heavy love can get. I let go slower than you did, but I survived every step. One day I'll say your name and feel no ache, but tonight I'm still learning how to let go break. I was still learning how to breathe, with your name tangled in my sleep. Every promise half unsaid, still hanging in the words we never meant. I built tomorrow in my head with fragile hope and borrowed plans. You were already closing doors while I was standing where we began. I thought silence meant hold on, didn't know it meant goodbye. I was counting all our reasons while you were learning how to lie. You left before I was ready, before my heart knew how to fall. I was still choosing you daily. You were already done with us all. You left me mid-sentence, mid-dream, like love was a page you could tell. I stayed where the truth was breaking. You left before I could prepare. I replay moments like they changed, as if time could bend for pain. Your smile felt thinner near the end, but I called it just a phase. I carried us on tired faith while you traveled light and free. I held on to what we were, you held on to who you'd be. I mistook distance for space to heal, didn't see you drifting far. You were already letting go, I was still naming all our scars. You left before I was ready, before I learned to stand alone. I was still fixing what we broke. You were already moving on. You left me loving the memory while you erased the sound of my name. I stayed to grieve what we could have been. You left without feeling the same. Maybe I love the future too much, more than the truth in your eyes. Maybe I stayed where I felt safe while you chose a different life. I won't beg time to bring you back or blame myself anymore, but it still hurts to know you left before my heart closed the door. You left before I was ready, but I'm learning how to heal. I won't chase ghosts of yesterday or doubt the pain I feel. You left before I was ready, but I stayed long enough to grow. I love deeper than you ever knew, and now I finally let you go. I wasn't ready when you left, but I'll be ready for myself. Didn't hear the door that day, no dramatic words to say, just a shift in how you breathe, like you'd already left me. Your jacket stayed behind the chair, but your eyes were never there. I smiled like nothing changed, while my chest felt rearranged. I kept asking what went wrong, like answers still belong to me, but my pulse was already shaking, like it knew what I couldn't talked about us in future tense, like hope could pay the rent. I planned around your absence, called it patience instead. You laughed a little softer than your touch didn't stay as long. I called it just a moment, but my body knew I was wrong. I trusted words you didn't mean, ignore the weight inside my chest. Funny how my heart remembers what my mind tried to forget. My heart memorized your exit, every step you didn't take. It braced itself for emptiness with every promise you would break. You faded slowly, quietly, like I wouldn't feel the change. But my heart learned how to lose you long before you knew my name. Maybe love is just a warning written deep inside our veins. We feel it before it happens, before the truth explains. I won't blame myself for staying when you already had a plan. I loved with my whole nervous system. You left like only a man can. My heart memorized your exit, but it didn't harden shut. It still believes in something real. Even after us, I won't unlearn the way I loved, or wish I felt less pain. My heart remembers how you left, but it still knows my name. You walked away without a sound, but my heart heard everything. You left without slamming doors, no final words, no reason why. Your jacket still by the bedroom floor, like you'd be back before goodbye. I memorized the way you left, by how the room forgot your sound. Even the clock held its own breath when it realized you weren't around. I told myself you just needed time, but time never promised you were mine. I kept the light you turned off, stayed awake in case you came home lost. I learned the dark by heart, so you wouldn't have to find the switch. You moved on without a thought, left me loving what you forgot. I kept the light you turned off, like love was something I could fix. Your name still echoes in my phone, unread messages, unsent truth. I made excuses on my own for all the things you didn't do. I shadow that never stayed. I stayed loyal to what we were. You stayed silent, and that hurt worse. I kept the light you turned off, believed in you when you walked off. I made a home inside the dark, so you wouldn't feel alone. You found peace somewhere else, while I held the night by myself. I kept the light you turned off, until even hope went cold. Maybe love shouldn't beg to stay, or bleed just to be seen. Maybe letting go is learning that choosing me isn't selfish, it's clean. I kept the light you turned off, but I won't wait here anymore. I see now what it cost to love someone who closed the door. If you ever wonder why the room no longer knows your name, I turned the light off for myself and finally walked away. The dark doesn't scare me now. I'm not waiting anymore. You stopped asking how my day had been, just nodded like you already knew. Our words got smaller, thinner, like love was scared of waking you. I learned the sound of empty space between your sighs and tired eyes. We were still sharing the same bed, but dreaming separate lives. You said nothing was wrong, but silence stayed too long. When love and you became quiet, I felt the distance in your touch. No fights, no tears to cry with, just less and less of us. You didn't leave, you just went still, like love forgot how to speak. When love and you became quiet, it started breaking me. I laughed louder to fill the room, hoped you'd notice something changed. I kept translating all your moves into reasons you might stay. Your phone lit up, your eyes looked down like I was interrupting peace. I was standing right beside you, but somehow begging to be seen. I miss the way you used to care before love turned into air. When love and you It taught me how to grieve. Maybe love shouldn't whisper just to survive, or fade so gently we call it time. If silence is all that love can be, then I'd rather hear myself some love ends loud, ours disappeared. I stayed when leaving made more sense. Watch the clock ignore my prayers. Your silence learned my name before I learned how not to care. Every promise lost its tone, every kiss felt slightly gone. I smiled just to keep you near, while disappearing year by year. I let go in slow motion, frame by frame I fell apart, still loving you out of habit, still breaking my own heart. I didn't leave, I faded, and I words you never quote. I let go in slow motion long before you noticed. Your jacket still behind the door, like you might need it once more. I stopped asking where you'd been, started guessing how this ends. I learned to miss you quietly, so you wouldn't feel the change. You were already halfway gone. I just stayed to take the blame. I let go explode. They gently loosen their hold, and one day you breathe without them and call it closure. Was full of echoes from words we didn't say. I was counting every heartbeat. You were already away. Your eyes stopped listening. Your hands let go of mine. I felt the ending coming, but pretended we had time. You left before the song ended, before the last refrain. I was still learning the done with the pain. You didn't say you were leaving. You just stopped pretending. I kept singing for us. You left before the song ended. Your laugh became a memory, too soft to call back home. I replayed every moment, like it might change the tone. I loved you in the quiet parts, between the lines you missed. You heard an exit sign. I heard one final kiss. You left before the song ended, before it could resolve. I was still holding the harmony. You were already gone. You didn't break the silence. You let it do the damage. I kept singing for us. You left before the song ended. Maybe love isn't forever. Maybe it's just a verse. You stopped believing in us. I believed it worse. You left before the song ended, but I sang it to the end. I stayed with every lyric, even when you didn't understand. Now the music feels different, but my heart's still open. I didn't lose my voice. We just left before the song ended. stayed when the signs were clear. Read between what you wouldn't say. You were halfway out the door. I was finding reasons you might stay. Every warning felt like doubt. Every doubt I turned to hope. I held the pieces of your heart like they were mine to hold. You were slowly letting go. I was loving you more. I loved you past the point of return, past the lesson I should have learned. I crossed every line I swore I wouldn't, just to keep us from the burn. You stepped back without a word. I stayed until it hurt. I loved you past the point of return and lost myself first. I memorized your fading touch like it might come back again. You called it space, I called it trust, but we were standing at the end. Your silence felt rehearsed, mine was breaking underneath. You stopped choosing what we were, I stopped choosing me. I thought love meant staying strong, even when it stayed too long. I loved you past the point of return, past the truth I couldn't face. I kept rebuilding what was gone while you were leaving trace by trace. You never asked me to remain, I just refused to turn. I loved you past the point of return, and that's what made it burn. Maybe love is brave, but not when it erases you. Maybe holding on isn't always proof. I loved you past the point of return, but I won't love that way again. Not where I disappear just to make somebody stay. You were a chapter, not my end. A fire I survived. I loved you past the point of return. Now I'm finally on my side. Some loves don't come back, they teach you where to start. We sat across the kitchen light like strangers sharing space. You stirred your coffee slowly, wouldn't look me in the face. I felt the distance settle in between what was and what became. We were still saying goodnight, but it didn't sound the same. I held the word forever like it still meant something true. You were already folding out of everything we knew. And that was the last time I called it us, before the silence won, before your hand stopped reaching, before the damage done. I said we'll be fine tomorrow. choosing me. Your jacket stayed by the hallway door, like maybe you'd return. I memorized your quiet steps and every look you wouldn't turn. We weren't fighting anymore, we just stopped trying to win. Love didn't leave in anger, it just thinned and thinned. I kept speaking in plural while you were thinking alone. I was building a future, you were letting it go. That was the last time I called it us, before the air went cold, before I saw the truth in the things you never told. You didn't slam the door, you didn't raise your voice. That was the last time I called it us, before you made your choice. Some endings don't explode, they gently rearrange. You wake up one day and we just feel strange. That was the last time I called it us, but not the last time I cared. I stayed until the feeling was too quiet to repair. Now I speak in I and me, and it finally feels honest. That was the last time I called it us, and the first time I chose myself. Some words carry history, some words let you heal. And the day I stopped saying we was the day it became real. The room still held your laughter, like a picture on the wall. But lately every promise felt smaller than before. You stopped asking how I was, stopped reaching for my hand, and I kept filling silence with reasons I'd pretend. I thought love meant patience through every changing tide, so I stayed a little longer, even when you stepped aside. I stayed after you stopped trying, after hope began to fade, after every quiet moment showed the distance that you made. I kept holding I memorized your absence like a shadow in a room. Every maybe that you whispered turned tomorrow into gloom. You called it growing distant. I called it losing you. But loving someone lonely was all I knew to do. I believed in forever more than what I could see. But forever doesn't happen when it's only carried by me. I stayed after you stopped trying, after effort disappeared, after every empty promise became something I feared. I kept writing us a future. You erased it line by line. I stayed after you stopped trying and told myself we'd be fine. Love shouldn't feel like standing all alone, building a home for someone already gone. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I won't stay anymore. I deserve a love that reaches, not a half-closed door. Now I'm walking through the silence with a stronger kind of grace. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I finally left that place. Sometimes leaving is the bravest thing you do. When you realize love stopped fighting for you. I still remember the way you laughed under streetlights, our shadows cast, moments that felt like forever. Now they're gone, like they never mattered. I kept chasing what could never stay, held on to whispers that faded away. We were almost something real. your face in every crowded street, a ghost of us in every heartbeat. I tried to fix what wasn't mine, but some love fades with time. I held on to dreams that slip like sand, reaching for touch I can't command. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. Maybe in another life, another day, we'd have found a way to stay. But here and now, I let you go, carry almost in my soul. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. We were almost something real. And I'll keep the memory and heal. And I'll keep the memory and heal. We were almost something real. The sunlight fell across your face, but your eyes were somewhere else, a distant place. I whispered secrets you no longer heard. Our quiet room swallowed every word. I tried to hold on, but you slipped like rain, a gentle touch I couldn't retain. The day I fell, you drift away. Everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. I still see your shadow in the hall, empty echoes bouncing off the walls. I reach for moments that can't return. In the silence, my own heart burns. I held your laughter close to mine, but some love is never meant to shine. watched your eyes drift to someone new, while I held the pieces that belonged to you. Every promise that we once believed faded away, leaving me deceived. I tried to keep a fire that you let die, whispered my love into the silent sky. Set free, I carried our dreams through endless nights, even when they faded out of sight. I held on to what you let go, clutching I held on to what you let go. I trace the shadow where your coat used to hang. The air still carried the coffee you never drank. Every corner whispered secrets we never said. I loved you loudest inside my quiet head. I should have fought harder when the silence grew. Held your hand tighter when you slipped into blue. but I let the moment drift like smoke in the rain. Now the hurt arrives before the pain. I missed you before you left, before the door ever closed. Felt the goodbye living in every word you never spoke. Your absence was already carved in the shape of my days. I've been grieving you quietly in 1,000 small ways. I missed you before you still echoes in the hallway at 3, but it's only the wind playing tricks on me. I keep your favorite song on repeat in the dark, trying to find the place where we lost the spark. I should have said stay when my pride said run. Should have been honest when the damage was done. Now every sunrise feels like an apology for the love I buried so you could be free. I missed you before you left, before the suitcase hit the floor. Heard the end in every step you took toward the door. Your leaving was written in glances I tried to ignore. I've been carrying ghosts of what we were before. I missed you before you left. Maybe in another life I'd be brave enough to speak. Catch your wrist at the threshold, pull you back to me. But in this one I'm learning how to live with the ache of loving someone most when it's already too late. Too late. I missed you before you left, and I'm still missing you now. In the spaces between breaths, in the weight of this vow, you're gone, but the longing keeps blooming somehow, like wildflowers breaking through concrete ground. I missed you, God, I miss you before you left. Before you left, the quiet already knew I missed you. I'll always miss you. sat on opposite ends of the same worn couch, your fingers tracing circles where mine used to touch. The TV flickered blue, but neither of us watched, just counting the seconds before one of us would flinch. I swallowed the words like broken glass at night. You looked away, pretending everything was fine. We built this perfect silence, wall by wall. Now I'm screaming inside, where you'll never hear the fall. What we never had the courage to say still lives between us every single day. I need you to stay. I'm scared that you'll go. I love you more than you'll ever know. We let the truth die in the spaces we made. What we never had the courage to say. Your suitcase weighted open like an accusation. I folded your favorite shirt with hesitation. We spoke in groceries, weather, polite good nights, while the real conversation burned holes in the lights. I almost reached for your hand at the door, almost begged you not to become a memory anymore. But pride is a crueler lover than loneliness ever was. So I smiled like it didn't matter, because what we never had the courage to say haunts every sunrise, every empty space. Don't walk away, I'm breaking into. I would have fought forever just to stay with you. We traded forever for a dignified charade. What we never had the courage to say. If time gave me 30 seconds to run back to that night, I'd crash through the door, no pride left to fight. I'd scream every line I rehearsed in my head, while you stood there stunned, finally knowing instead. The clocks don't bargain and hearts don't rewind, so I'm left with the echo of words left behind. What we never had the courage to say still echoes louder the longer you're away. I'm sorry I froze, please come back to me. You were always the only place that I felt free. We lost what was real. you ever wonder why I still look away? It's because those unsaid words are the only place you stayed. We used to finish each other's sentences at dawn. Now how was your day feels like reciting a foreign song. Your laugh moved to someone else's stories on my feet, while I sit here memorizing the back of your head. The small rituals faded one unnoticed breath at a time. Coffee for two became coffee for one by design. I kept waiting for the moment you'd turn and see that the person you once knew was still right here, still me. I watched us turn into strangers. No dramatic goodbye, just 1,000 tiny deaths beneath the same sky. Your eyes forgot the way they used to find mine. We became polite ghosts in the wreckage of us and mine. I watched it happen, slow like winter arriving. I watched us turn into strangers, still surviving. Stop reaching for my hand in crowded rooms. I stopped asking why the silence felt like tombs. Traded inside jokes for surface level weather, and I love you became something we don't say together. I replayed every warning sign like film on repeat. The way your later turned permanent, incomplete. I should have fought louder when the distance grew tall, but I let it happen. Watch the writing on the wall. I watched us turn into strangers. No fight, no blame, just erosion disguised as life staying the same. Your voice on the phone lost its warmth overnight. We're civil now, careful, pretending it's alright. I watched it happen like sand slipping through. I watched us turn into strangers, me without you. If I could pause time on the last night we felt like home, I'd whisper every unsaid thing before we turned to stone. But love doesn't warn you when it's quietly packing to leave. It just lets you watch the stranger you once swore you'd never be. And now I carry your absence like a second skin. The stranger you became is the hardest place I've been. watched us turn in the strangers, and I'm still watching the end. Every memory flickers like a signal losing strength. You're happy somewhere new. I hope that much is true. While I'm learning how to live inside the echo of losing you, I watched us turn, I watched us fade into strangers we never thought we'd trade. I watched us turn into strangers, and the strangest part is I still recognize your shadow in every empty heart. We lay in the dark and I bit my tongue again. Every fear I swallowed felt like saving us from pain. Your breathing next to mine was the only sound I heard. I told myself that quiet love would never need a word. I built a wall of stillness, thick and soft and kind. Thought if nothing ever broke, nothing ever died. I wore the heavy comfort like a blanket made of stone, never seeing how the silence carved us both alone. I thought silence meant safe, like a harbor in the storm, but it was just a slow blade cutting every thread we'd worn. All the ammo case I hid behind my smile became the very reasons we stopped burning for a while. I thought silence meant safe, now the quiet is a grave. You'd ask if I was happy, I'd answer with a nod, while inside me every unsaid storm began to flood. We danced around the edges of the things we couldn't face, pretending calm was courage in its most elegant grace. I watched the distance widen in the pauses we allowed. Every night I chose restraint instead of reaching out. I believed the less I spoke, the less that I could lose, until the love we guarded turned into something we outgrew. I thought silence meant safe, like a promise sealed in glass, but it cracked beneath the weight of everything we never asked. All the nights I let the dark speak louder than my heart became silence meant safe, but it was the thief in disguise, stealing every future from behind my quiet eyes. I'm learning now that courage is the only thing that saves, the kind of love that doesn't die inside a silent grave. No more hiding, no more pretending I'm alright. I thought silence meant safe, but it cost me my life. I thought silence meant safe. Now the silence is all I have, and it sounds just like, but that